Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me in this webinar. Here we're going to talk about various liver conditions. According to Ayurveda, we're going to not be using a lot of Ayurvedic terminology or Sanskrit, but we are going to analyze and classify the condition of our liver, our different liver conditions, according to Ayurveda, the tridoshic system. And then we're going to talk about certain causes, of course, to these conditions. And then we're going to talk about mostly herbal treatments. I have many past webinars on home remedies for liver conditions, and I have a lot of past webinars on diet for different liver conditions. So we're focusing mostly on the herbs here, but we do want to understand the different types of liver conditions so we can provide the proper herbal treatment. So when we talk about, we're going to talk about the liver, the blood, and the gallbladder, and to a lesser extent, the spleen. Because in Ayurveda, this is all one system. We call it Rakta Vata, the blood moving system. And of course, this would include the heart. But in this case, we're talking about the quality of the blood and the functions of the liver to maintain a healthy blood. That was to include both the mineral and triglyceride levels in the blood, the fat levels in the blood, the red blood cell, white blood cell, etc. So let's talk about the three types of imbalances that we can have. According to Ayurveda, of course, it's considered a tridoshic system, which means that we view things from the perspective of the doshas. And I hope you're familiar with your own particular Prakriti or body type, whether you're dominant, Vata, Pitta, or Kapha, because this is probably has a determination of the condition of your liver itself, but not necessarily. So let's break it down into three categories. When we look at our blood system, including our liver, because the blood itself is not an organ per se. So it's not manufacturing its own red blood cells. This is a job by the spleen, the liver, and maintaining fat levels in the blood and hormones, so all managed by the liver. So the blood per se is not something we're treating, but it's the liver. When you have high cholesterol, then you have basically a poor functioning or congested liver. So you're not really treating the blood, you're treating the liver to improve the liver function, and it's the liver's role to then reduce this fat in the blood. And same if you have an infection in the blood, then it's the liver's responsibility to filter out this infection and purify it. And if there's depletion in the blood, like anemia, low red blood cells, low platelets, then it would be the responsibility again of the liver and the spleen, in the case of white blood cells, to support the blood and have a proper red, white blood cells and platelets. Of course, we have bone marrow also involved here. But let's look at these three categories. First, we look at what would be a Vata state of liver, and this would be, we could say, a slight cirrhosis of the liver, a depleted liver. This is where the liver function is poor, and signs of it would be even in poor circulation, which would be cold hands and feet, poor circulation, even blood clots, and then craving for spicy and sour food. This is because sour is very nourishing and building for the blood, and spicy helps stimulate the circulation of the blood. So often you find people with this type of depleted liver and weak heart, which supports this circulatory system, as craving spicy foods, and that's a healthy craving. Also, varicose veins without the clotting would be another sign of a depleted blood system. So we're not really talking about just the liver alone, but the liver, blood as an entire system. which some degree involves the heart, because the heart is circulatory, so and supporting circulation. So when you have a Vata person who's thin, light, cold, dry, generally they don't have a strong heartbeat, strong heart, and big heart muscles. So this creates poor circulation. And poor circulation also makes it more difficult for the heart to perform, for the liver to perform its duties, filtration. So they go hand in hand. A person who has is depleted by nature, underweight, low body fat, depleted in vitamins, can then have this depleted state of liver and poor circulation. So we call this Vata type of liver condition, or Vata in the blood system, and it's reflected by dry skin, poor circulation, even loss of color on the face. Not a lot of color on the face, somewhat palish, not nice color, and symptoms are, a fatigue, because when the liver is not working good, in all cases, we can see fatigue, weakness, fatigue, inability to digest fatty and fried food as well. Now, many people say, well, I don't have fatty and fried foods, but the question really is, are you capable of having fatty and fried foods? Because when you're not capable of having fatty and fried foods, and this can show a weak liver. We can see with teenagers and young people who have young livers, they don't have difficulty with these fatty and oily foods. That's because their liver is in better condition due to youth. So, and then of course, a very extreme case of this depleted liver, with the cirrhosis of the liver, where the liver cells are actually dying off. This would be in this first category, depleted liver, dying liver. And often this liver, if you palate it, you can feel it's hard. It's not enlarged per se, but it's hard. And of course, this type of condition in the liver, where it's dry and depleted and weak, then often dries up the bile. The bile isn't thin enough. It becomes too viscous, too thick. And then mostly due to the lack of hydration. And then there's blockage in the gallbladder. So this type of depleted liver can also create blockage in the gallbladder due to the dryness and the hardness of the bile in particular. So that's the first category. So if you feel you're in that category, take notes. Generally, this person is craving spicy foods, warm foods, and has difficulty digesting oily and fried foods in particular, and has poor circulation. And maybe we can see also varicose veins on the calves. The second category, we'll go to kapha next. Probably the most common category for people to have difficulties with their liver. And this is the category, kapha, as you know, is heavy, congestive, thick, dense, slow. So this is coming from foods that are heavy, dense, and thick, like red meat, coconut oil, fried foods, excess fat, most animal protein, and dairy. And then we often can see excess weight, even obesity. And then we have what we call fatty liver develops, large liver, and then cholesterol, high triglycerides, all are in this category. And here we can see more swelling. Swelling is a key sign. It's kind of the opposite in the sense of the depleted vata state of the liver, where it becomes dried and hard. Here, the kapha liver becomes a swollen, and it's overwhelmed with the amount of fat that's been absorbed in the liver. And this cause, which we're going to talk about, causes in a minute, is mostly to poor digestion, too much fatty food, fried foods in the diet. And of course, alcohol can adversely affect the liver and lead to any three of these states, depending on the individual's constitution. But here we're talking about this kapha in the liver, where you have swelling in the body, stagnant blood, high cholesterol, and of course this can lead to hypertension, high blood pressure, and obviously cardiovascular conditions and heart failure, but also glaucoma and deep varicose vein with clotting. So if you're looking at the calves and you see the varicose veins, but you see the clots, then this is the case. And of course, if you're good at feeling the pulse, then you can feel the thickness of the blood in the pulse by the deep tissue in the pulse, the thick blood, stagnant blood. And often this is accompanied by a person who is kapha by nature, heavier, easier to gain weight, slower appetite, weaker digestion, slow metabolism, and slower heartbeat. Maybe the heartbeat's only 60 beats per minute or even less. So this is also contributing to this stagnant condition. So again, we're going to talk about cures, but you want to classify yourself if this is the category of your liver, or if you're a practitioner, you want to classify the condition of your patient's liver. So there's really no such thing as, okay, take this for your liver. First, you have to determine the condition of the liver. And when you palate the liver, you can feel it's enlarged, and there's often a big abdominal swelling. And you kind of have that so-called beer belly type of pregnant, 5-month pregnant type of look. So you can see people like this, particularly men who've had a lot of drank a lot in the past. And so the face isn't fat, the neck isn't fat, the upper body isn't fat, but you have this beer belly. And this generally is an indication of swelling and water retention around the liver and enlarged liver. And then they go to the doctors, and the doctors often talk about their triglycerides, HDL, LDL, and then even diagnose them as having fatty liver. So all those are in the kapha category. It's basically a clogged up, congested, fatty liver, adding fat to your blood, excess undigested fat to your blood, which is cholesterol, and of course can lead to hypertension and cardiovascular failure and heart attack. So very serious. And then the third category is we call pitta in the liver. And this is where symptoms are hives, rash, acne, serious skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis would be in this category. Even hot flashes. If you're not a menopausal woman and you're having hot flashes of heat, then this can be a sign of what we call too much pitta in the liver. And it's very common, particularly in the summertime. You see this quite often. And they have very sensitive liver. When you palate the liver under the right rib, they have a sensitivity. And they often have some bleeding, maybe bleeding in the gums, or hemorrhoids, which is a type of bleeding, canker sores, boils, red eyes. The eyes can become bloodshot and red. The face can become red, and also can have hypertension. But the cause is different. More of the inflammation taking place in the arteries that's leading to the cholesterol covering this inflammation and then leading to blockage. So both pitta in the liver and kapha in the liver can lead to high blood pressure, but the causes are different, so the treatment must vary. So other symptoms of this pitta in the liver is, besides just red face, also anger, irritability. For kapha in the liver, you're going to see much more depression, slow, fatigue. And for vata in the liver, you're going to have a lot of weakness, very weakness. So, the liver we know has hundreds of functions, managing hormones in the body, fat levels in the body, the metabolism and breaking down of fat into fatty acids through the use of bile, the filtration of the blood, and excreting the toxins that are accumulated through this filtration process in the bile and into the small intestines through the gallbladder. So when we're speaking of the gallbladder, if it's pitta in the liver, we can have a very sensitive and painful gallbladder. It can even be overactive, and bile can be dripping out of the gallbladder. There's almost too much bile, just like a bleeding. So the person can have bleeding gums, red face, high blood pressure, irritability, red skin, rashes, hives, or other skin conditions. And then they can also feel nauseated, and feel like vomiting sometimes. Bile. We often see this with people who've had their gallbladder removed. Similar symptoms, where there's no gallbladder, and then the bile is dripping into the duodenum, the upper part of the small intestines, and then we're getting this nausea, this feeling of wanting to throw up, so that people have to eat dried, like crackers or bread, to absorb this bile. But we can get it even with people with a gallbladder when the pitta is too high. And this, again, is more likely coming from a person, but not necessarily, who has a high pitta body type or Prakriti, and they're going to be kind of a driven, warm, hot, warm-blooded person. And it's only this condition of pitta that's too high in their liver that's creating this condition. And this would, other things can create pitta in liver, a viral infection. So hepatitis would be in this category. This is an inflamed liver, so not caused by maybe the person's constitution, but by the virus. And then the virus creates the inflammation and the heat, and then we can see many of the same symptoms. So what causes these conditions? Well, since we have three different conditions, this depleted vata liver, this clogged up kapha liver, and this inflamed, burned, hot pitta liver, then the causes are very different. For vata, mostly it's through depletion, too much fasting, skipping meals, poor nutrition, damaging the liver through use of alcohol, drug use, any type of drug use, whether it's recreational drugs or pharmaceutical drugs, generally becomes a burden for the liver. So long-term use of pharmaceuticals, for example, create pitta in the liver. And you know that the liver is has too much toxins accumulated when you have what's called chemical sensitivity. If you go in a room and you are bothered by incense or little cigarette smoke, and other people aren't bothered, and you have headaches, and you have a reaction to chemicals, perfumes, of course, probably cheap perfume, maybe good perfume doesn't bother, but cheap perfume, cigarette smoke, smells, this type of thing, and you feel like a headache, then this is what we call chemical sensitivity. And basically it means that your liver is overwhelmed with toxins that it's accumulated over the years, all the chemicals in the water, the air, the food. Every time you buy food that's organic, you're going to use some more chemicals. Every time you're out near the highway, breathing in the air, or you live in a congested area with a lot of cars, you're going to be breathing in the toxins that are harmful for the respiratory system. Even if you've been in an area where there's been a fire or burning fire, this in, and this is all going to become a burden in the liver. And of course, if you're not drinking good water, or you're just drinking products or food that's processed with a lot of chemicals and dyes, preservatives, then your liver is absorbing these, trying to deal with them over the years, and eventually it can become overwhelmed, no longer capable of filtering more. Then you start reacting to everything, even smells, air, and even extreme food sensitivities. So in almost all cases of people with liver problems feel some sense of fatigue. So this is also a key factor when you is this fatigue. And of course, what we do, and of course, instead of solving the problem, improving the liver function, what do we do most of the time when we have fatigue? Well, we just start drinking coffee. But this is not improving the, may even be harming the liver, particularly if it's a very depleted liver. So let's talk about some of the treatments here. Let's go start with this fatty liver. This is the most common. You have high cholesterol, you have excess congestion in the liver, and you want to clear it out. And herbs, I want to say, work very well here. You can do a lot of cleansing, a lot of so-called detoxing. I see a lot of detoxes going on, but they really are not going to have much effect on the liver. If you do, say, a juice fast, you're juice fasting for a while, it's not going to help clean out your colon, for example. I mean, how's liquid juice going to clean out your colon? You need the fiber. So juice fasting doesn't do much for your colon. And if you don't have the right juice, it's not going to help much for your liver. Good juices for your liver are the roots, vegetables, beets, carrots, cilantro, coriander, and some, burdock tea, dandelion tea are going to be very helpful. But most cleanses that you see aren't going to have a big impact on the liver. But the herbs happen to be very effective. So these herbal treatments are very good. And we can see from history that people used to take bitters before they had meals. And this helped to stimulate their liver. And there's certain things that people do, like coffee enemas. And these are stimulating to the liver, but they don't necessarily cleanse the liver. And two of these three that we talked about have one in the liver are high tryptophan or worse. So just jumping to doing something because you feel it's going to help your liver is, somewhat risky. I mean, you probably won't hurt yourself if it's natural, but if you want to really improve your liver function, you're going to have to be more precise in determining what its state is, and then choosing the right herbs to improve the condition. And the herbs work very, very well. And there's really no other known effective means for cleaning out the liver besides, like I said, some juice for extended period of time to do it. But with these herbs, you can just keep on eating and take the herbs and see the liver improving in a matter of weeks. So people who have chemical sensitivity have liver problems. People who can't do any fried or oily foods have liver problems. And of course, if you're getting pain in the gallbladder area after you have your T-bone steak at night or something fried, then there's a blockage in the liver. I mean, in the gallbladder. And this, of course, can lead to a gallbladder attack. And if you go to the hospital, they'll remove your gallbladder quite quickly and send you a bill. But in fact, herbs work very good at cleaning out the gallbladder. I had many patients come to me who had gallbladder attacks the day before the appointment, began the herbal treatments, and it improves gallbladder function very quickly. Now, of course, there's other ways to flush out the gallbladder. We know Andreas Fritz with the gallbladder liver flush. This does have some influence from Ayurveda. He was influenced by Ayurveda. May he rest in peace. But he did have what the condition's called chronic gallbladder gallstone creation, where it just kept making new gallstones very fast. So that's why he came up with this treatment of this gallbladder flush with olive oil, lemon juice in the morning with some preparation the day before where you didn't have any fats at all. And then when you had this olive oil, lemon juice, or grapefruit juice, first thing in the morning, this would make the gallbladder contract and flush out the stones. And it's very effective. But, in a professional sense, it's probably safer to use herbs. People can have problems. I did workshops where we had everybody in the group doing this gallbladder flush. And out of 10 people, we always had one person who seemed to have some pain, and the gallbladder didn't flush, and it just got pain instead. Fortunately, nobody had to go to the hospital to have their gallbladder checked. But I did find that this approach is risky. But sometimes it's very simple. If there's no immediate blockage and the stones aren't too big, then this can be a very effective method. But in most cases, I recommend herbs, and now I rarely do this gallbladder flush method, which I did maybe 5-10 years ago. And now I just use the herbs because it's much safer, a little more steady, easier to do for the patient. So let's talk about some of the main herbs that we would use to clean out the gallbladder. And the number one herb is, yep, dandelion root. And very interesting, dandelion's growing out here in Southern California out in the garden. It's like a weed. And even when I ride my horse in the hills, we can see dandelion growing out there. And the deer themselves in the springtime will dig up these dandelion roots and eat them. So it shows you animals have this intuitive sense to cleanse the liver in the springtime. And that's the best time to do any type of liver cleanse is in spring, because in the winter time it's cold, dry, the liver and the gallbladder and the blood can become more congested and thicker, particularly because we tend to have more of an appetite for heavy foods in the wintertime to protect ourselves from the cold. So we like to have more animal protein during the wintertime to protect ourselves. But then in the spring, it starts to become warm, the sun comes out, dandelion will start to come out, and there it is, nature giving us exactly what we need, dandelion. And you can also have the dandelion leaves, but the roots are much more effective. And the deer seem to know that. They seem to dig up the roots and leave the leaves. And when I've been out in the wilderness here outside of Ojai, where I live, I can see where the deer have been digging up dandelion and just eating the roots. So very effective. And you can support that with, of course, burdock root, but also very well known for helping liver function. And these are improving bile flow, liver function, circulation, and helping you to create more bile. And then we combine that with as a milk thistle seed. I have the whole seed because, like all seeds, they have a protective covering, and once that covering is broken, they can oxidize quickly. So I keep it in a whole form and then just kind of grind it down when I need it. And then I make a very simple tea, not for serious liver conditions. I'll show you herbs for more serious conditions. This is like a nice herbal tea that anybody can make on their own and do every year, particularly in the spring. And I recommend all adults to not just make it cleanse out the colon and other organs in the body, including the kidneys. We're going to talk about another webinar, but the liver every spring. So here we have liver tea, and we can see the first ingredients: dandelion root, burdock root, milk thistle seed, and then we've got some licorice. Licorice is like a catalyst, bringing everything all together, making the other herbs work better. Coriander, which is a cooling herb, and then a little ginger. And that coriander is very nice for the liver because the liver is generally warm or dominated by pitta energy, so it's easy for it to get hot and create bleeding conditions. So coriander is a very cooling herb. So this improves bile flow and detoxifies the liver. I would say slowly. Most people would need a couple bags of this tea and have 1 or 2 cups a day for 2 or 3 weeks. And this can improve liver function. Generally, I tell people just keep going until you feel your energy is much better. And if you have something fried or oily, discomfort. So people, even with chemical sensitivity, can start taking this tea within a couple of weeks. They start to feel improvement. And it will start to help improving, lowering cholesterol, improving the digestion of fat. Because remember, it all goes back to poor digestion, not just, we have digestion we call Jatra Agni, the digestion of the main digestive fire. It's made by we call Panchaka Pitta in Ayurveda. It's the fire. It helps you to digest your food. But here we're talking about the digestion of the liver. According to Ayurveda, the liver also has 5 digestive fires, which are helping it to digest the food that we eat. So when this digestive fire is low, you don't have much appetite, you're not eating till 3 or 4 o'clock. So you can see your digestion is weak, your fire is low. Then you're going to have difficulty also digesting fatty, fried foods and oily foods. And then this poor digestion of fat then creates more fat in your blood. And this tea will go a long ways to help improve that condition. For those people who are more depleted, say vata, you're thin, underweight, particularly dry, the lips are all cracking and dry, the skin is all dry, and they have a weak liver, then we give the herbs in ghee. So we call it liver ghee. It gently detoxifies the liver. And we have Indian herbs in here like neem, mangista, buma amalaki, one of the premier herbs for liver detoxification, buma amalaki. Maybe we can bring that off the shelf and I'll show you some of these liver herbs, like buma amalaki as well. Now, if you have a child in skin condition like a rash, hives, then and he's dry, then and weak, then we would prefer to give him this the herbs in ghee, because all of these herbs for the liver are bitter. That's why bitter greens can help improve the liver, like arugula. Yep, and here we have this is bumi amla. There, I call it bumi amalaki, but bumi amla. This is the powder that's used in many of these formulas. And it's reducing pitta and kapha in the livers, fat and inflammation. And then kupti is a very powerful, very bitter herb, and it's particularly good at cholesterol and fat in the liver. So let's look at the three formulas that we would use for these three conditions. The liver tea is effective and good for prevention, good for every spring that cleans out the liver. You can make it yourself by just getting dandelion root, milk seed, and burdock root, adding a little ginger or coriander to it, and drink it for a couple weeks. But if you have a more serious condition, then we're going to want to go with a more specific formula. And here we have one. This one here is called Ayurvedic liver tonic for kapha. And we can see here that this one is going to be for fatty liver, high cholesterol, and congested liver. And there we have the buma amalaki, which I just told you about, punarava, which is very good for swelling and edema, and then kupti, which is one of the best herbs for fat in reducing cholesterol in the body. And there's other supportive herbs like kalmag, another powerful bitter. Kalmag means the king of bitter, so it's very bitter. Most of these liver herbs are very bitter in nature, and kasni and brinjal, a few other herbs. But the main ones is the buma amalaki, the punarava, and the kupti. And if you have fatty liver, maybe you would be taking this maybe a half teaspoon before meals twice a day, and within maybe 2 jars, you could eliminate your cholesterol problems, assuming that you've got rid of the causes. No fried foods, no coconut oil. I know coconut oil is very popular, but we eliminate it when we have high cholesterol. And of course, you'd have to do something like low-fat milk, not too much butter, and better to be on a vegetarian diet when you have this kind of fatty liver and high cholesterol condition. But this herb here, this formula is basically for this type of condition. And we can supplement it by the person taking the liver tea as well. Or after we're done, they could continue with the liver tea. So the next one is this vata in liver, Ayurvedic liver formula for vata. And now it's quite different. A lot of the same herbs, but in different quantities, because kupti is very bitter herb, vata, and can be very depleting because kupti is a very powerful bitter, and it can deplete the blood. So we don't want to use it too much for this type of person who's already depleted and weak, and we're just trying to rebuild liver cells. And here we use other herbs like kasni, which is not a very well-known herb, and buma amalaki again, and haritaki and ginger. Haritaki is a premier herb for all vata conditions, and this would take, depending on the condition of the liver, maybe a couple months or less of taking this herb, and of course, a very nutritious diet, where even ghee would be recommended. Because remember, this is not a fatty liver. This is a depleted liver, a dying liver, a cirrhosis of the liver. Maybe after some types of drug use, pharmaceuticals, or even chemotherapy, where the liver has been severely damaged in a sense and depleted. It's not fatty, not congested, or on cholesterol, but it's very weak and could be very highly sensitive to chemicals. And it could be after, like I said, like chemotherapy is a very common situation where we have this type of depleted vata liver. So this isn't like cleaning it like the other formula, but this is more supporting it. So here, this person would be encouraged to have more dairy, maybe a little more animal protein, particularly fish, and eating a very nutritious diet, particularly a lot of root vegetables, beets, carrots, in particular, and it would rebuild, strengthen the liver. So, and then the third one is for pitta in the liver, and this one is more cooling. So you see coriander. Well, the one for the vata had ginger. Same with the kapha one. There's ginger, so it's a little heat involved in that one. But this one is using coriander. It's not heating. It's actually cooling. So this is a person who has the rashes, the bleeding, the psoriasis, the red face, and we're using Buma amalaki and some other herbs, which is good for liver. There's the kuptis in there still, but the quantity is less. Kasni, which is also very good for the liver, but quantity is less. And bringraj, which is very good for liver function. And then coriander, which makes it very cooling and not heating. But again, you can see the main herbs are Buma amalaki, and this is considered the premier herb for improving liver function. And by taking this, after even one jar, people can see redness come down, rashes improve, skin conditions improve, irritability improve, anger even is often one of the first signs, irritability. I joke a lot with the clients who take this and they say, give me another jar of this pitta liver. And I said, did it help you to become less irritable? And they say, noticeably better. And I go, what about the rashes and the pimples? They said, noticeably better, just one jar. So, you know, if the condition's getting better, then they do another jar, another 2 jars. And herbs are not just something that's holding you out for a day, but they have a function. And you can see their function in this case is to improve the liver function based on its imbalance, whether it's to vata depleted, to kapha congested, or to pitta inflamed and hot. And they improve that. And so within a month, the conditions can go away. All the symptoms that we're talking about or that we're concerned about, these are just symptoms. I mean, cholesterol, this is a symptom of a congested fat, clogged up liver, weakness, fatigue, high food sensitivities can be to this depleted, poor functioning vata liver. It's irritability, hot temper, rashes. These are just symptoms. So we're not treating these symptoms. We're treating these causes, which are related to the liver. So by treating the liver, it often can improve a wide range of conditions. And most of all, people are happy with their skin improving and their energy level improving. Those are the 2 most noticeable signs that people have after taking these liver herbs. Is their skin gets better and their energy improves. Now, we have more specific formulas. This one here for the gallbladder, and this will flush out the gallbladder. So gallbladder tonic, and you take this 3 times a day. This is once you've already had clogging congestion in the gallbladder. So still, Buma amalaki, the first herb, Punararava, because this is a kind of a herb that's a diuretic and helping things move. And then using Gokshura. Gokshura is very good for unclogging things and getting it going. And Triphala, which maybe some of you know about, made of amlaki, haritaki, and bibataki. And then there's Kupti in here again. And then Gugalu. I don't know if you know about Gugalu, but it's a black resin. It has a scraping quality, cleaning quality for weight loss. It's very powerful for weight loss and reducing fat in the body. And then there's Shilajit, which is it's a mineral sap. It's very sharp and penetrating. So this formula is, flushing out the liver, the gallbladder, and increasing bile. It's very powerful. Most people only will need 1 jar, and the liver function, the gallbladder will be clear. And of course, again, you'd have to follow the proper diet, low animal protein, very little dairy, keeping the digestion strong, Agni strong, avoiding snacking, nuts, eating at night, and congestive thing. Well, the herbs were doing their job. And you may still have to take the liver herbs after you clear out the gallbladder. So if you have gallbladder congestion plus fatty liver, we take the gallbladder herbs first to flush out the gallbladder. And then we take the herbs for the liver for maybe another month or two, or a month. And then after that, they can just do the liver tea every year to prevent the problem in the future. So if you, best is to be preventive. You know, very few of us are. We generally wait until, you know, the car problem happens in our car and the health problem happens in our body until we take action. But in this case, for the liver, it's much more wise to be preventive and to try to cleanse and detoxify your liver every spring. And if you do this early in life, in your 20s, in your 30s, in the 40s, then you will not have any type of liver problems, fatty liver, congested liver, or gallbladder problems your entire life. Now, if you had cholesterol, and this can be life-threatening and blocking the circulation and can result in strokes or heart attack, we'd want to clear that out right away. And here we're using herbs, again, Googaloo. Let me bring some Googaloo down from the shelf and I'll show you. But that's the first ingredient because, like I said, Googaloo breaks up fat and it dissolves fat. And it's very effective for, like, we use it in the gallbladder formula to thin out the bile and break up this congestive fat. But in the case of cholesterol, it's the first ingredient. So that's why it's kind of dark. This Googaloo right here from India. It's like a kind of like asphalt, you know. It's resin, and it's very good at weight loss, fat, breaking it down. And that's the main ingredient in here. We just back it up with a little amlaki, cinnamon for circulation, arjuna, which is also very good for circulation and fat, and again, the amlaki. But the main ingredient here is Googaloo, bring down the blood fat in the whole circulation and the liver. So it's going to help improve the function and reduce the fat levels quite quickly. People who take maybe one jar, then they go see the doctor, and the doctor sees that lipid levels are lower, and they will lower the cholesterol medicine. And after a few jars, being tested by the doctor, he can then take you off of your cholesterol medication as he sees the condition improves. Because once again, the medication is maybe keeping you alive and valuable. You don't want to go against what your doctor says, but it's not improving your liver function or resolving the problem. And these herbs, on the other hand, are improving the liver function, cleaning out the liver, reducing the fat, increasing the digestion of the liver, and then the doctor could see the improved results, and then he can advise you reducing down or off of your medication accordingly. And I'm doing this every day because it's a very common condition. Another formula we have here is we call it liver and digestive, and it says right on it, this is for fatty liver, cholesterol, and it cleans the whole GI tract as well. So we're combining some of these herbs that are strong for the liver, like kupti, and then we're adding other herbs that are strong for digestion, like chikrat, which is a warm, heating, post-digestive herb used in all post-digestive formulas in Ayurveda. Then some Haritataki amlaki, which are the ingredients for triphala. And there's some Googaloo in here as well, and Shilajit. So this is a very powerful formula, and it will improve digestion because that's one of the root causes, is this poor digestion. People often think, well, I don't have much appetite, so that must be good. And I'm not that hungry, so that must be good. But it's not. When you eat food and you feel tired and sleepy afterwards, you have digestive problems. This is weak digestion. And it's going to be a weak digestive fire, weak Batu Agni, we call it, the digestive fire in the liver. And then eventually you're going to have this congestive liver over time due to your poor digestion, weak digestion, which you thought was good because you weren't that hungry. But in fact, it's not healthy and can lead to this type of liver condition. So this is a very powerful formula, and it's kind of taking care of two problems at once, increasing the digestive fire and starting to detoxify the blood, particularly getting rid of the fat. That's why we call it treatment for fatty liver. So those are the main herbal formulas used. And once again, there are different versions in ghee. This is a gentle one, but we also have a stronger one in ghee. And if somebody is very vata, thin and weak and dry, then we prefer to give all these herbs in ghee. Sometimes even these herbs I've shown you here, we ask the person to prepare them in ghee and take them. Ghee is a type of clarified butter. And then this takes the herb right to the liver. Because if you drink the tea too much, you're just drinking the tea, particularly away from the meals, then, you end up urinating it out and it's not really going to the liver. But when you take the herbs in fat, in this case ghee, then we can be sure these herbs are going right to the liver, because the liver has to process all of this fat and break it down and digest it and then manage it in the body. So we call this in Ayurveda like the carrier or the anupana, what moves the herb to the right place. So taking liver herbs for a vata or pitta, depleted person or inflamed, in ghee is more effective. As long as it's not fatty liver, congested liver, or high cholesterol, then we can take the herbs in the ghee. For the other conditions, for if you do have the fatty liver, then not advisable to take these herbs in ghee. Okay, so that's quite a range here. We have another one here. It says blood detox tea, and this one is a little cooler, more cooling than the liver tea. So we use this one for most skin conditions, but it's still cleaning the blood and the liver, particularly the blood. We have other herbal treatments that clean the blood, take out uric acids, reduce down creatine levels as such. But that's another subject. Still have to focus on improving the liver first. So just to review there, for those, I see some people who came late, and just to review, you want to classify the condition of your liver in one of these three categories: depleted, which is probably going to be a person who's dry, thin, weak, has trouble digesting a lot of foods. Inflamed, pitta, where you're getting hot, red, rashes, hives, pimples, burning gums, bleeding gums, or have a psoriasis or skin condition like where there's this red and inflammation on the skin. That's pitta in the liver. And then the more common one, kapha in the liver, where there's fat and congestion in the liver. So you want to get in one of these three categories, first of all. Then you want to change your diet to adjust. Fatty liver, you'll cut down animal protein and the fats and the fried foods and going mostly veg, very little dairy. But if you got the depleted weak liver, you want to be having more, maybe having some. That's like anemia. So you want to have some bone broth. You want to have maybe some even red meat to support this depleted liver that's low in maybe iron. See, so the woman menstruates, a lot of blood, loses a lot of nutrients, loses a lot of iron. So in this case, you don't want to become deplete the liver anymore by being vegan and cutting out all dairy and meat. But on the other hand, this woman may be better off to even have some meat in her diet during this period to rebuild the blood and to build the blood back up. So we can have too little blood and depleted, more common with women through the menstrual cycle, and we can have excess blood, which is more common with a pitta type of person. And then we can get a bleeding in the gums and other conditions. So another treatment in Ayurveda is bloodletting, where they draw out a certain amount of blood, and many people can benefit from this, particularly if you have a lot of boils, bleeding conditions, heat, and giving blood, donating blood can reduce down your blood. So you have to know when you want to build up the blood, reduce down the blood, thin up the blood, thicken the blood. This is very important because we know that this is critical to your health. I mean, blood is carrying all the nutrients around in your body. So I see people mostly with this, of course, the fatty liver and the cholesterol is the most common. But the second is this state. And this mostly coming from people who are dieting, not having any um, skipping meals, not having any animal protein. I'm not saying that everybody should be having a lot of animal protein, but the category that gets this depleted vata liver, and then they become very sensitive to things, have difficulty digesting foods, and they start to also feel some blockage in the gallbladder, generally comes from this under eating, skipping meals, fasting, not having any animal protein, and even a low fat in the diet. And then, so the treatment has to be the opposite. So a nutritious diet, more animal protein, more meat. And then, of course, for the person who's pitta, has that warm, hot, the diet should be cooling diet, no more spicy foods, no more pickles, no more nightshades, tomatoes, garlic, onions. See? So with a person with a fatty liver, you're going to have the onions and the garlic to clear it out. The person with the depleted liver, we give them the beets and the roots and the meat. And the person with a hot, inflamed liver, then we don't want to give them and these hot beets. We want to give them more bitters, bitter greens, arugula, cilantro, coriander, mild spices, these cooling, and buma amalaki, and even taking the herbs in ghee. So you always want to change the diet first. Don't rely completely on the herbs. And if you've had a history of alcohol, obviously liver problems, the cause, the alcohol. And sugar also can both inflame the liver and create more fat and congestion in the liver. So you want to eliminate all sugar, eliminate all alcohol in all cases, and eat as much as you can organic food, and avoid any extra medications that could be a burden or would be a burden for your liver. And then once you've got the diet right, you've got rid of some of these causes like your old bad habits, drinking and partying and drug use and whatever it is, eating out or not eating home-cooked food. I would fix all those first, then take the herbs until the condition resolves itself. And of course, contact me if you need more assistance, or any good herbalist, even a Chinese herbalist, would be easily can help you with your liver. Western herbalists are also very good at helping with the liver, using some of the same herbs, Western herbs, and Chinese. They have Chinese herbs, and all through time, herbalists have been helping people with liver conditions, and it's been very effective over the thousands of years, and it still remains to be a very effective way to treat most liver conditions. Okay, I hope that helped you, and I hope my information was accurate and clear. And forgive me if I've made any mistakes in how I've taught you. My knowledge is coming from my experience and my knowledge of Ayurveda, which is a subject we're all continuing to learn throughout our life. I hope this gave you hope for your liver condition and gave you insight into how to improve your liver condition, and realize that the liver is a very robust organ and can rejuvenate itself, unlike kidneys, which is very difficult to rejuvenate. So there's a lot of hope for improving all these liver conditions. It's not too difficult. But you may have to take the herb for a few months, and you may have to follow a more strict diet, and of course get rid of the causes that created it in the first place. Okay? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I sincerely hope this helped you to improve your health and to improve your longevity and to live a happier, longer life. Thank you very much for your time.
Greetings from beautiful Southern California. I sincerely hope you learned from this video and benefited from all the information. This knowledge is not my knowledge, nor is this information new, but part of the ancient healthcare system called Ayurveda, the science of life. I hope my videos explaining the Ayurvedic approach in a simple and clear manner help you to overcome your health issues. However, if you have a complex or serious health condition, I highly recommend that you contact me personally so I can meet with you here in my clinic in Ojai, California, or in an online conference call, so I can properly diagnose your condition and provide you with an individualized diet and custom herbal formulas. Then I will follow up and continue to support you until you have recovered. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel below and visit my website for more information, appointment fees, upcoming events, and my schedule, where you can book an appointment directly online. Thank you once again, and I wish you the best of health and happiness.